Good morning everyone, I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm Mysticle, and today I'm going to be bringing you the latest in XR news. We've got quite a few interesting things to talk about today, including Facebook finding the leaker that leaked the unannounced headset, basically confirming that the new headset is exactly what we think it's probably going to be. We've got V50 coming up, which is another nice round number for the Quest 2, and overall, just a ton more. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. So first of all, V50. V50 is coming up, and it's bringing something that I think should have been there from the very beginning. The touch interface. The interface that you have in front of yourself every time you jump onto your Quest 2, the main menu. Everything on it has never been able to be touched, which is a pretty natural gesture that you want to do when you hop into VR. You want to touch the buttons, you want to swipe on the interface in order to scroll on it. That has never been possible. V50 finally brings this along, and whether you want to do this with controllers for more accuracy or with hand tracking, both seem to be possible. It's a setting called Direct Touch, and I think this should have been there from the very beginning. Again, this is a pretty natural gesture that you want to do when you see this interface, and the fact that you haven't been able to do it until now is, I think, just a massive downside, as you also can't press the buttons on the keyboard when you're typing with hand tracking, and hand tracking has gotten to a point where I think it's more than capable to be able to type on said keyboard, or at least they could make it an experimental setting for those that want it. I personally do use hand tracking quite a bit, and I found that having to pinch like this on every single key on the keyboard when it shows up has been quite a pain. So actually being able to press on the keys, whether it's just with one finger, or maybe even getting to the point where typing like this is possible, would be incredible. But Direct Touch is coming in V50. Meta doesn't have the full release notes for V50 on their website just yet, so we don't know what else is coming, but people that have access to the public test channel have revealed that they've already been getting access to V50, and Direct Touch seems to be one of the largest features in that update. And I must say, if it works well, it's going to be a pretty substantial one. And what some people might find even more interesting is the fact that the user Delicious Potato 2 has posted a picture of a permission on Reddit that reads body tracking. Now, whether this is actual body tracking or whether this is just fitness tracking, we're not entirely sure yet, but it could be a hint at body tracking coming to the Quest sometime in the future. There have been multiple hints like this in the code before, but now there's an actual permission in the Quest firmware that is called body tracking. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what this one does, with the biggest feature in this update definitely being Direct Touch. And again, this is something that I think should have been there from the very beginning, because even if hand tracking wasn't there, I think people would have loved to be able to press on those buttons and on that interface with controllers, which we can see people doing on Reddit going above me right now. But yeah, with that being said, I'm looking forward to V50. Facebook has Meta has basically confirmed all of our leaks are true. We have multiple reports of Meta finding the leaker and cutting ties with them. From The Verge, Meta found a leaker who shared details about its unannounced VR headsets with a YouTuber. The source of the leaks asked for payment in exchange for providing detailed drawings and specs to a VR enthusiast named Brad Lynch. I did not expect this, because this is essentially Meta confirming the fact that what they released wasn't a hoax, because if it was a hoax, why would they be cutting ties with this person? A version of this story was first published on yesterday's edition of the Command Line newsletter. A months-long leak investigation by Meta has uncovered the source behind the renders of the company's unannounced VR headsets that were published last year by a YouTuber named Brad Lynch. Meta CTO Andrew Bosworth shared the news earlier this week with employees in an internal post seen by The Verge. He said Meta has cut ties with the leaker, who The Verge was told is a third-party contractor that asked Lynch for revenue share from YouTube ads running against his videos. In his post to Meta employees, Bosworth confirmed that the unnamed leaker was paid a small sum for sharing the materials with Lynch. Companies rarely publicize the firing of leakers. When they do, it is usually to make an example of the culprit and signal how seriously they take the offense. Meta sharing the outcome of this investigation with employees suggests that Lynch's videos from last year caused quite a problem for the company. It's interesting. I do wonder what problems leaks may cause for the company. Yeah, sure, we're getting to see what the device is supposed to look like before they release it, and we know pretty much everything about the device before they release it. But that's pretty much just spoiling the fun for us. Unless they have like patents pending, and other companies might see what they have before they release it, take over that and release something comparable before the main company manages to release theirs. But as you can see, Meta is taking the offense quite seriously, and it's been a whole year-long investigation. So that's one piece of news I find incredibly interesting, and with that being said, let's move on to our next one. Here is an interesting article that showed up for me on my Google Now feed when I woke up. Facebook owner Meta cuts more than 70 jobs in Ireland as AI improvements reduce need for humans. Now, I do feel bad for everybody that was laid off, so my condolences to everyone there, and I do wish you the best in your future endeavors. AI has apparently gotten to the point where it can replace humans, which is scary. That's like the stuff from futuristic movies that we see. Facebook owner Meta has cut between 70 and 80 roles from an Irish content moderation team due partially to improvements in artificial intelligence, reducing the need for human work. A spokeswoman said that the move would have no impact on the company's ability to review content which may be in breach of its rules. So it does seem that this was in the content moderation team, which I think is exactly what YouTube does. YouTube's AI takes over kind of checking out videos and stuff like that to see if they're in breach of the TOS, and then if someone appeals it, it goes to a human. So I guess YouTube has been doing this for a very long time. Now, I must say, it hasn't gone down very well on YouTube so far. Yes, it does very well in some points, but then completely fails in others. So I guess we'll just have to see how well it works with Facebook. Let's just hope that AI doesn't start taking over all of our jobs, because as I've already proven in a different video, we can now have AI completely mimic my voice and create scripts on its own, which is absolutely terrifying. And it does it to a point where some people didn't even realize that my voice was regenerated by an AI. Utopian, is that what you call this? Is this the utopian future that everyone was afraid of? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And finally, for a new title coming to Quest, Mixture releases February 23rd for Quest 2. Mixture, an upcoming action-adventure platformer, will release on the Quest platform on February 23rd. The game was announced in the second half of the year, with confirmed 2023 releases for both Quest and PSVR 2. While the PSVR 2 release date is still to be confirmed, we know that you'll be able to play the game on the Quest 2 and Quest Pro in just under 2 weeks. Developed by the Polish studio Played with Fire, Mixture sees you control two characters through a moss-inspired high fantasy platformer. There's Sola, a small moth knight, who you'll navigate through the game's environments, and then Safarios, the master alchemist, who you'll simultaneously embody at room scale. So in case this sounds like a game you're interested in, I was actually a big fan of Moss when that came out, then you can look forward to Mixture. But that is going to be it for today's video. There isn't tons and tons of VR news every day, but we just kind of have to wait until we get enough to create an interesting video out of it for you guys. And hopefully that's what this was. If you enjoyed this one, please do leave a like. If you disliked it, I guess this one works too, but let me know why down below. If you guys are not yet part of our community, check out our Discord down below and check out our Reddit. I want to see you posting your spicy memes on there. And thank you so much to the Patreons for supporting this channel. You guys help me out a ton, paying my bills, paying my subscriptions, and helping me make these videos better. And as usual, if you want to be notified about future content coming up on the channel, make sure to smack the subscribe button with your forehead, ding my bell, and see you again in the next video. Peace.